But Cheri Jacobus and Ashley Pratt say this has nothing to do with the workers' numbers and everything to do with union numbers. First of all, Jessica, why do we need $15 an hour?
Well, I don't actually know if you need $15 an hour, but you certainly need a raise. I mean, we haven't raised the federal minimum wage since 2009. There's all of this evidence that says that if we do, you're not going to have a negative impact on the economy. You're not going to have a negative impact on employment numbers. I mean, these people need to earn enough money to survive. And what they're getting right now is just not doing the job. So that's really what it's about. $15 is a stretch. LA will be an interesting guinea pig, right? Because that's a big city. They've done this in other cities like San Francisco and Santa Fe, which are much smaller. So I think we need to see what goes on with Los Angeles. But we're talking about being fair to Americans who work hard. These are not people who are living off the fat of the land. They're working really hard. They want to provide for their families, and we should make sure that they can.
Okay, two sides of this story. Cheri, how can this not have an impact on the economy? You double the minimum wage. That's got to hurt jobs, doesn't it?
Of course, especially in a place like McDonald's where you have these very, these low dollar, the dollar menu and things like that. And a lot of people need to live on that, but also it's not real hard to work there, and that's not an insult to the workers, but you could turn those machines around and the consumer themselves could order their food. So this is going to cost jobs in a place like that. Also, I think they just got a raise at McDonald's. And if the unions really cared about the workers instead of the unions and the union bosses, they would let this settle in, see how it works with the consumers, see how it works with those who own the franchises. Let it settle in and then see what they can do next. But this is not doing anybody any good. It's not good for the workers. It's not good for the consumers. It's not good for the company. It's good for the union bosses, and that's their whole strategy.
And Ashley, is that what this is about? Union membership has been declining precipitously. Are they just trying to get more workers?
Yes, Brenda, union bosses and unions could care less about the worker. They care more about filling their own coffers. And that's been very clear throughout this whole orchestrated, arbitrary movement. They have funneled money into worker centers to make it look like it's a worker-led movement when in fact it's not. It's being sponsored by the unions, as we mentioned before. And the thing that I think Cheri pointed out that was so important here is the fact that, I mean, literally, union bosses are reaping profits here, and they're going to do it at the expense of jobs. They're almost like the Hamburglar, but they're not stealing burgers. They're stealing jobs from the very people they say they're protecting.
Well, and Jessica, actually unions support a two-tiered system in some cases where entry-level workers make less than people at a different level. Why not here?
I'm not sure why not here. I don't think we've heard the full argument yet, but I want to go back to what was just said about this being just pushed by the union bosses. This is something that Americans overwhelmingly support, 70% in fact. I mean, we saw in the 2014 midterm elections that minimum wage ballot initiatives to raise the minimum wage passed in 4 deep red states and across all blue states that they were in. I mean, this is something that Americans want generally, not just union bosses. I think that's really unfair.
Well, but union bosses have come out and even admitted that this will end up costing workers jobs, and they don't care. And reports are coming out today that pensions are now going to be cut because unions are more focused on spending money on lobbying and political activities.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys. We got to wrap this up. A great debate, though. Appreciate your help.